Free will, a universal unspoken law that we all know very well, is with us at every point in our conscious lives, and it wouldn't be wrong to say that's what makes us human, and that is precisely why the world, nor any small part of it for that matter, can become an utopia. This is the free will problem. I also want to point out that I'm just a random guy talking about this. It's something that came to my head, and I've done minimal research on this philosophical problem. This is just something that I was thinking about really deeply as I was finishing up my book, and I wanted to just post a video about it. Basically, what I'm saying is, don't take what I'm saying as a fact. It's an opinion, and it's meant to promote discussion. So feel free to discuss with me in the comments. Anyways, without further ado, before we talk about the free will problem, we need the definition of free will. Free will is the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. But my specific definition is the ability to make a choice, which the definition kind of touches upon, but I'm taking it way more literally. Any choice you make is because you have the sense enough to make it. Choosing grape juice instead of apple juice before you go to school, choosing to go to a bar with friends, or choosing to stay home. Even something as minor as moving your big toe for no reason, all of this exhibits free will. It is something that is with us the moment we become conscious. However, what a lot of people don't realize about free will is it applies to things that you wouldn't think they apply to. So I have a question. If you were held at gunpoint to give your money, can you still exercise free will? Yes, you can. Your free will is being influenced by the threat against your life, but you can still always choose to keep the wallet if you don't care about your life that much, or you're too prideful and hand it over. Or you have some weird plan that you saw in a webtoon on how to disarm a guy with a gun with nothing but your eyes. I don't really know. Another situation is if you're tied to a chair, your hands and feet are bound, and you're blindfolded. You can still make the conscious choice to struggle or scream or stay silent. Your free will is being influenced, but not being taken away. The point is that your free will is being influenced. That's the point I'm making in all of these examples. For every single choice you can make in life, there will always be an inherent right or wrong one. The wrong one can make your life worse by a negligible amount, like using the toe example from before. You move your toe, and that makes you conscious that your toe feels stiff. So you start trying to flex your toe in your foot, and now you have a cramp. Obviously, that was a very random situation, but that's how some small choices can affect something greater. The butterfly effect and free will go hand in hand. And if you guys have any better examples that isn't about your big toe, right, feel free to leave them in the comments. Okay, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy that makes videos, kind of, sometimes, barely. So why is it a problem to have free will? And to clarify, I'm not saying that having our free will taken away is better. In fact, in my opinion, it's way worse. But I'll get to that later. The problem with free will is something I realized when writing my book. And I won't talk about it too much here because the book itself isn't relevant, but my realization is. As I was writing, I had a character go through a bunch of stuff, and for the sake of the story, I hadn't realized how terrifying the concept of free will was. As I was writing this character's feelings, I realized that the struggles I was writing in this book happen all around the world in far worse forms, and people are making a conscious choice to do these things. Notice how I said people and not some people, because everyone who indulges in terrible acts such as human trafficking, murder and abduction, or pedophilia are making the conscious choice to do that. They are exercising their free will to make horrible decisions. Also, if you want to check out my book, I'll talk about it at the end of the video. The point is that because we all have the ability to make the wrong choice in any given situation, in which most of them we don't even know if it is the wrong choice in the first place, there will always be evil. Some people will always make the conscious choice to better themselves in exchange for others' happiness. Some people will always make the conscious choice to do horrible acts because they can, because we're human. We've evolved and excelled so far because of our free will. Our drive to always upgrade and innovate. Like a couple hundred years ago, no one could imagine that you'd have a little device or a mic that could talk through a display connected to a PC that would stream to a bunch of people, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Throughout history, there's not been a single time our free will has been taken away, meaning all of the horrible acts, such as human trafficking, slavery, those were all conscious decisions made by people. And those people stuck in those situations in the past and present had their free will influenced to such a point to where most felt like they couldn't do anything. Because we as humans can always make the conscious choice to do wrong without even knowing it, the world can never be a great place. There will always be people that exercise their free will to cause misery to others. So why don't we just get rid of it? What if there was no free will and we were like a hive mind? I don't know if y'all played Hollow Knight, you know, like the bees and stuff, you know, get it? I don't know. Well, no, that would suck terribly. We'd have no agency. We would lose what makes us human. If we were mindless puppets that couldn't think for ourselves, then what's the point of even existing in the first place if we have no right to make any decisions on our own? Now, an example I've heard people say about this is religion, and I don't agree mostly. Okay, so by my definition, there are only ever two situations where you as a person don't have free will. The first is when you're a baby, because you can't think for yourself yet. All you can do is cry and, like, you know, crawl around sometimes, right? Or if you have a mental illness that just makes you basically unable to ever think of yourself. There could be more, but those are just the ones on the top of my head. Religion does not take away your free will. Many people join a religion and follow it for specific reasons, or just because they were brought up that way. But they are still making the conscious choice to follow it, listen to it throughout life, and many people's moral compass is defined by their religion. However, there are the extremities of religion, just like anything else in the world. I have personally met people who are so fanatic about their respective religion, they believe every choice, hardship, and boon was because their God granted it. I had someone tell me once they passed their math test they had been studying for 3 weeks because God guided their pencil and told them to study it. No, you just chose to study, passed, and then gave the victory to God. That wasn't that extreme example, but I'm not trying to get too dark here, so you can just look it up yourself if you're curious. So, in some situations, I feel like religion can be a bit of a brainwash, but again, for the 20th time, you are still making the conscious decision to attribute whatever religion you follow again and again and again and again and again. Heavy influence of free will in some cases, but you can still choose. So to sum it all up, the free will problem in my definition is, as long as we as humans can exercise free will, meaning we can always make the wrong choice, the world, or small regions for that matter, can never become a utopia. There will always be rampant evil because we're human. However, we can't take away our free will because it is what makes us human and gives us agency in life. The thing is, there is no right answer, and it's something that we kind of just have to live with. If you disagree with me on any of these points, please sure to let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to discuss with you, although I doubt this video will really blow up. And like I said, I'm just a guy that makes a video randomly sometimes, occasionally, right? So if you have like some super in-depth argument and I look at that and I was like, I can't really argue against that. Like, don't, like, I'm just a guy, man. I'm just a guy, all right? I'm not like a philosopher. But let's just say if I get 1,000 likes, I'll make another video about a different topic I randomly think about. You know, that's it. The video's over now. You thought the video was over? No, I still have to do my shameless self-promotion. If you're here, thanks for coming this far. As I said before, I got my idea from writing my book called Alter Core, which is out on Royal Road. It's a sci-fi story about a kid who is stuck in a facility trying to forcibly awaken powers known as gifts in children. He doesn't have any power, so he has to navigate through the harshness of the facility while defending against the people that do have powers. If you like dark sci-fi stories with heavy action, you'll love it, I promise. And now, I'm terrible at saying descriptions and summaries, and I didn't want to just say the exact summary of the book that I spent like 5 days on, because I'm terrible at summarizing things. So if I did that poorly, I just like to ask, please give it a chance, check it out. You know, it wouldn't hurt. You know, like, people get bored often. Alright. Anyway, that's it. I'll stop talking your off. I'll put the link in the description. Thanks for watching.